Hare Krishna, everyone, and welcome back again to our ongoing series on the glories of our most beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we're continuing with our mini-series on Stimulation for Ecstatic Love, and this will be part 80. Today we'll continue with our discussions on paraphernalia used in the worship of the deity. So far we've done the bell and the chamara whisk. And today we will discuss in detail the Acaman Patra, or as we call it more commonly in ISKCON, the Acaman cup. Acaman literally means to sip, and patra means a vessel. So an Acaman patra is a vessel for sipping water to purify oneself before deity worship or any other sacred activity for that matter. The process includes 1 cup and 1 spoon. And the Acaman Patra is also called, in my studies I came across, Brahma Kamandalu, meaning the Kamandalu pot in Brahma's hand, which holds the sacred water of Lord Vishnu's Charnamrita, which flows in the form of the Ganges River. In Srimad Bhagavatam 8:21-4, it's very clear that the water in the Acaman cup is Ganga Jal, or Ganges water. The verse is as follows. O king, the water from Lord Brahma's Kamandalu washed the lotus feet of Lord Vamanadev, who was also known as Urukam, the wonderful actor. Thus that water became so pure that it was transformed into the water of the Ganges, which came flowing down from the sky, purifying the 3 worlds like the pure fame of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhagavatam's so nice. Thus, the water we use in the Acaman Patra, or Acaman cup, is considered sacred. This is made even clearer in the prana mantra for the Acaman Patra. I found the prana mantra for the Acaman Patra. Deva na mapi devaya deva, nama devata atmane, Acaman kalapaya misham, Shuddha Yaha Shruti Hetave. O sacred vessel of the Acaman Patra, I pay my respects to you. You are the reservoir of all the auspicious demigods and eligible to offer the water to rinse the lotus mouth of the Lord. Prana mantra, the essence. Prana mantras means the essence of something. So someone might ask, why is it so important to sip such waters before doing anything or any sacred activity? The answer is found in the Brihat Narayana Purana, shlokas 45, as well as shlokas 70 and 72. The sage Vashishta said to King Shodasha, O king, sip the water of the Ganga, and she will give you divine wisdom and destroy all your sins. Thus you will serve Lord Hari eternally. What a blessing. Understanding this perfectly, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes in his Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, Parikrama Kanda 1364, how Janu Muni was desperate for the mercy of Mother Ganges. Heta Janu Muni Vaishe Sanjakari Bhare Bhagrati Vega Kosha Kushipade Dhare. One time Janu Muni was performing Acaman on the banks of the Ganges. Suddenly his Acaman cup got carried away in the strong currents of the Ganga. Seeing this, Janu Muni drank the entire water of the Ganges in one single sip. Interesting history. Now, chapter 18 of the Skanda Purana says that the sacred water of the Acaman Patra becomes even more powerful, even more potent, when a single tulsi leaf is added to it. Such water, it is said, is able to liberate 21 generations of one's forefathers. Of course, generally, our acaman patras, acaman cups, contain ordinary tap water that we get in our temple kitchens or in our homes, not Ganges water. So, how can it have the same effect? Well, we can transform that water into Ganges water, and actually water from many sacred rivers, by mantra. In the Pancha Ratra Pradipa, the mantra for calling sacred rivers to the Ajman Patra is given from the Vedas. Gangacha Jamuna Chaiva, Godavari Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, and Kaveri be present. So the mantra establishes those rivers in the cup. Shastra says, Anacham yak ritam yacha yacha shankalpa varjitam rakshasham tat bhavet. A ritual does not yield any results, and it becomes futile if it is performed without acaman and sankalpa. Sankalpa, of course, means taking vows. So, chanting these acaman mantras to bring the sacred rivers into the cup, it's very powerful. It's a very purifying process. I was thinking, firstly, we have the privilege to call all sacred waters into the acaman cup. Prabhupada has given us this privilege. We can call sacred rivers into the water pot by mantra, by his mercy. And secondly, we can benefit by their presence. And we should never forget how powerful such mantras are. In a room conversation on April 27, 1976, I think it was in Auckland, New Zealand, Srila Prabhupada said, "What power this Hare Krishna mantra has got, that it is changing people so quickly, it has to be admitted. Unless it has got power, how is it changing? Don't take it as ordinary musical vibration. It is a different thing, spiritual. Although it seems like musical vibration, it is completely spiritual. Mantra shadi vasha." By mantra, even snakes can be charmed. By mantra, Prabhupada said, even snakes can be charmed. So mantra is not ordinary sound vibration, unquote. And in his book, A Transcendental Diary, Volume 4, by my very dear godbrother, Harishori Prabhu, he relates how one time Srila Prabhupada explained to him and a small group of devotees how the power of mantra was verified by some doctors in Lucknow, India. Prabhupada liked to tell this story. He said, just like the snake charming mantra can be purchased in the market, but if you do not make yourself perfect by chanting the mantra, it will not be effective. I'll give you one practical instance, Prabhupada said. He said, here is not a story, it is a fact. Perhaps some of you know my friend who came here, Dr. Ghosh. He told me that there was a case in Lucknow University where in a building 2 or 3 snake-biting cases happened. Some students were bitten by snakes. So a snake charmer was invited to find and catch the snake in the building and take it away. Then Prabhupada said, then Dr. Ghosh and his medical students, they became inquisitive and went to see that snake charmer. He was a Mohammedan gentleman and inquired, what is the magic that you can catch a snake and the snake does not harm you, it does not bite you? So the snake charmer replied, it is possible by mantra. So the students challenged. No, we think that these snakes are not poisonous and cannot bite because you've taken their fangs away. A snake can't bite without his fangs, so you took the fangs away. So the snake charmer said, no, they have got everything. They have got their fangs. So then he took one snake from a large box full of poisonous snakes, and opening its mouth showed them its fangs, saying, "You see, the poisonous fangs are here." But the students were unimpressed. Srila Prabhupada said, "So to make fun," this is literal words, to make fun, the snake charmer opened up the big box and spilled out all the poisonous snakes. And there were many. And they immediately began slithering all over the courtyard. And as such, the students started screaming and running in all directions, while the snake charmer stood there and called out with confidence, "My dear boys, don't be afraid. So long as I am here with my mantras, they will not bite you." So Srila Prabhupada concluded, this is just a material example. If we seriously chant the Maha Mantra, which is completely spiritual, the effect will be unlimited. Even if we chant it properly only once, the Hare Krishna mantra can destroy more sins than the most sinful person can commit in a whole lifetime. And by Srila Prabhupada's grace, we as devotees have experienced to various degrees the power of mantras. In his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.37, Srila Prabhupada writes, Srila Jiva Goswami explains that one can understand the power of a valuable gem not by logical statements, but by observing the effect of the gem. Similarly, one can understand the potency of a mantra by observing its power to achieve a particular effect. For example, diminishing our material desires and increasing our attraction to Krishna. So we should have faith that when we call the sacred rivers into our acaman patras, well, in New York or in London, Paris, Sydney, they are actually there. Ganga cha Jamuna chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalismin Sanidum Kuru. May the water from the holy rivers, Ganga, Jamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, and Kaveri be present. And also, when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we should have faith, as Prabhupada poetically said, Krishna is actually dancing on the tip of our tongue, mantras. And I've many times shared what Prabhupada said. He said, in this material world, everything is always deteriorating, especially in Kali Yuga. But he said, the potency of gems and the potency of mantras never diminish in the age of Kali. A special benediction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, once one's Acaman Patra is full of sacred waters, one can perform the Acaman ritual for purification. Many devotees are familiar with this process. So briefly, while holding a spoon in one's left hand, one pours 3 drops of water into the right palm and chants, Om Keshavaya Namaha. I offer my obeisances unto Keshava, Lord Krishna, and sips the water. Then one pours 3 more drops into his right palm and chants Om Narayanaya Namaha. I offer my obeisances unto Narayana, Lord Krishna, and sips the water. Then once again, 3 drops into the right palm, and one chants Om Madhavaya Namaha. I offer my obeisances unto Madhava, Lord Krishna, and sips the water. Of course, there's also a fuller version where one chants mantras and names of Krishna and touches 12 points in the body while chanting those names of Vishnu, actually. So, in giving rules for performing Acaman from the Acaman cup, Hari Bhakti Vilas says a devotee should perform Acaman before performing spiritual activities such as putting on tilak, chanting Gayatri or Japa, before performing puja, observing a vrata, taking prasad, Hari Bhakti Vilas, taking prasad, reading or reciting shastra or mantras, and meditating. It also recommends performing Acaman after rising from bed, bathing, dressing, touching the lips, eating, going to an impure place, spitting, or coughing. speaking improper words, or touching something impure, and returning from a journey. The place where a devotee performs acaman should be pure, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, meaning a place free from hair, bones, ash, or any other impure item. And the water used for the acaman should be cool, fresh, without bubbles, no foul odor or taste, and untouched by fingernails, hair, or any impure item. These are many details, which, we follow the basic details, but many times one wants to improve one's devotional service, so here are some opportunities. Now, I was reading also in Hari Bhakti Vilas that rainwater, it's described, being in the mode of passion, should not be used for acaman. Rainwater. Now, further research revealed there are a variety of shapes of acaman patras. We're familiar, of course, with the cup-shaped acaman patra with a spoon, as we mentioned earlier. Technically, it's called a smarta acaman patra, which means an acaman patra which is reserved for brahmanas. But in Vrindavan, in previous times, devotees used a patra, the pot-shaped vessel, with a long nozzle. I've seen them. It's a cup with a long nozzle, which facilitated water from the pot to flow outwards very freely. It was called acamaniya, in Braj, acamaniya. And the Brajbasi priest would hold such a water pot by the neck of the water pot with their left hand and wash their right hand with the water coming out of the nozzle to perform the acaman ceremony or ritual, which we discussed earlier. And I was reading, so interesting, that the mood, because everything in Vrindavan is about the mood, about the bhav, about the love, everything from A to Z, infinity, that the mood behind such a shape is that the acamaniya is much like the water pots of the Braja Gopis, the milkmaids of Vrindavan, who have, of course, the purest form of bhakti or devotion for Krishna. Thus, Shastra says, by consciously sipping sacred water from such a vessel, one becomes eligible to touch the divine forms of Vrindavan's deities, and one day to serve the divine couple in the groves of Goloka Vrindavan. Now, it should be noted here that there was no spoon used with this acamaniya cup or vessel. Why? Because the acharyas say in Vrindavan, Krishna eats his food with his hands. Krishna doesn't use a spoon. There's no spoons in Vrindavan culture. Why? They say, well, because Krishna eats his food with his hands. Interesting, right? Nowadays we use spoons and forks and knives. One time someone said, Prabhupada, you have to learn how to use a fork and a spoon and a knife when you come to America, here in America. Prabhupada said, I've come to America to teach people how not to use these utensils, to use the hands. And now we know why. Because the acharyas say, Krishna, he eats his food with his hands. Things to consider. So the history of this acaman vessel, of course, traces back to a similar type of acaman vessel used in Jagannath Puri for centuries. I kind of went deeper into it. This particular type we're discussing here, used in Vrindavan, it traces back to a similar type of acaman vessel used in Jagannath Puri for centuries in the worship of Lord Jagannath. Now, one famous poet from Jagannath Puri describes this particular style of acaman cup. He describes its deeper significance. He writes, and it's so beautiful. The wider lower part of the pot is the riverbed of the Ganga. The elongated neck of the pot is the dreadlocks of Lord Shiva, and the nozzle is a stream of the river Ganga. Thus the Ganga comes into the palm of the hand to purify the body, and then by sipping comes through one's mind to purify one's thoughts. Then the water goes into mana, or the mind, to purify one of material desires. In this way, the body, mind, and soul ultimately become purified for the service of Lord Jagannath. Hare Krishna. Now, traditionally in Bengal, they used, in days gone by, a smaller Ajman Patra called a Panchapatra. It was called Panchapatra in Bengal. Why? They say because it helped to purify the 5 life airs running through the body. Now, in constructing these vessels, Ajman cups or patras, the popular metals that were used, and to some degree used today, to make them were and are gold, silver, brass, copper, as well as sometimes a combination of 2 metals, copper and brass, called Ganga Jamuna. I've seen these Ajman cups. They're 2 colors. They're 2 different colors because copper and brass are used. And when you shine it, it's very apparent. So therefore they say, Ganga Jamuna. I have an Ajman cup, Ganga Jamuna. Of course, the use of Ajman Patras goes back to the beginning of time in Vedic culture. 5,000 years ago, we know they were used in Krishna's pastimes. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.6.21, we hear, quote, "The gopis first executed the process of Ajman. Drinking a sip of water from the right hand, they purified their bodies and hands with the Nyasa mantra, and then applied the same mantra upon the body of child Krishna, elderly gopis." And in Gopal Champu, 18th Purana, Jiva Goswami writes, and this is really nice, "Filled with wonder after worshipping the cows, Krishna and the cowherd people performed Ajman according to the scriptural rules, decorated their calves with delightful, beautiful, colorful, and wonderful cloth, fed the calves, then made them sit down and rest, circumambulated the calves, offered obeisances to them, again performed Ajman, worshipped the sacred fire by performing an Agnihotra Yajna, circumambulated the fire, keeping it on their right side, and then worshipped the priests by offering them gifts of costly ornaments. In this way they concluded the ceremony of worship." There it is, 5,000 years ago in Braj Leela. In connection to Vrindavan, one of my favorite poets, Lalit Kishore, explains the appearance of Govardhan when he appeared in a poetic way, including the Ajman Patra. Listen to this. Lord Giriraj Maharaj appeared with 1,000 arms. His face was glowing like 12 suns in the sky. With one hand he was eating rice, and with the other he was eating dal. The cow's eyes served as his lights. His whisk was the high trees on the ground. His incense was the smoke of the incomplete yajna for Indra. His food were the heaps of rice, and his Ajman Patra was the deep, sweet kundas and sarovaras of Braj. Hare Krishna. Goes on, "I offer my respects to the Lord of all hills, Giriraj, who gives shelter to each and every one." Thank you, poet. Now the poet Hita Paramananda Das, whose poetry we've also shared many times, he describes one very beautiful pastime. And the name of this pastime is the special Ajman Patra. The special Ajman Patra. So, one day the gopi Satyavati, there's a gopi named Satyavati, she called all her gopi friends to worship the goddess Savitri, to get her blessings for improving their seva to her husband, Suryadev. The wife of Suryadev is Savitri. So as we all know, Radharani regularly goes to Suryakund to secretly meet Krishna on the pretext of worshipping the sun god. So when all the girls had gathered together, they went to see Mother Purnamasi, who orchestrates all of Radha and Krishna's pastimes. We've discussed many times with Vrindadevi. So Satyavati said to Mother Purnamasi, "O knower of all Vedic wisdom, Mother Purnamasi, please accept the humble respects from all of us young girls, Braja Gopis. We have a desire to worship Devi Savitri, the wife of the sun god. Therefore, please tell us how to do so we can please the sun god." So Purnamasi said, "Okay, my dear girls, you go to the sage named Sandilya Rishi, and respectfully ask him to do a yajna for you gopis." But when all the gopis went to see Sandilya Rishi, they learned that he was out traveling and preaching somewhere, as rishis do. So this news eventually spread around Braj, and when it reached the ears of Madhu Mangal, Krishna's funny cowherd friend, he smiled and said to Krishna, "Krishna, I have a plan how you can secretly meet Shri Radha again." He's one of those special cowherd boys who helps arrange meetings between Radha and Krishna. So after describing the plan to Krishna, they both disguised themselves as Paka Brahmanas. And they came to Satyavati, and they said, "O innocent Satyavati, greet us. We are the disciples of the sage Sandilya Rishi. He sent us here to you to do a yajna for Suryadev." So surprised, Satyavati said, "Oh, but we were not able to meet him. How could he send you without even hearing from us?" So disguised Krishna said, "Oh, foolish gopi, you do not know that Sandilya Rishi is antaryami. Antaryami meaning the knower of everyone's inner desires. You are doubting his spiritual powers. Stop making offenses to his lotus feet." So hearing these words, Satyavati started begging for forgiveness. She said, "Oh, effulgent brahmanas, please come with me to the Yagyashala. There, by Purnamasi's arrangement, there the queen of all cowherd maidens, Sri Radha, is waiting for you brahmanas to come." When they all reached the Yagyashala, they saw many sweet offerings prepared for the ceremony. But more important, Sri Radha was looking like the most beautiful of all decorated sweets ever made. For she is the sweetest of anything sweet, and the decoration of all sweetness in the three worlds. Such an excellent poet. And as Krishna stood mesmerized by Sri Radha's beauty, Madhu Mangal started performing the yajna as a Paka Brahmana. He is a Brahmana. And looking at Satyavati, he said, "Dear lady, where are the Ajmaniyas? Our patras, we need them." So Satyavati said, "Here they are." And she presented two. So the poet goes on, after performing the ceremony, Krishna and Madhu Mangal eagerly filled their Ajmaniya cups with a few of the ladus and burfis offered in the yajna. And then they left for the forest to share whatever they had with their cowherd friends. But Purnamasi had a surprise waiting for Krishna, Madhu Mangal, and all their friends. For when they entered the forest, suddenly, when Krishna and Madhu Mangal entered the forest, suddenly 16,000 cowherd boys ran forward and started eating endless ladus and burfis that were spilling out of Krishna and Madhu Mangal's Acamana patras. So stunned, Madhu Mangal, he looked at Krishna and he said, "Krishna, how is it that our Acamana patras have become so large and so deep? And how is it that infinite amounts of sweets are flowing out? You and I only left with a few ladus and burfis." Then, all-knowing Balaram, who was standing nearby, spoke up and he said, "Is this the magic of these special Acamana patras? Or the sweets themselves? Or," he said with a smile, "is it the special gopi who has made the sweets?" So Krishna took the cue. Smiling shyly, he replied, O brother, it is of course the magic of the special Ajman Patras and the sweets, but the real magic is the girl Sri Radha who has prepared them. And with that, all the cowherd boys started cheering. And because of eating, he describes unlimited sweets, they eventually dozed off into a long afternoon sleep. Hare Krishna. So let us finish. I never like to finish, but we can go on for yugas, right? So let us finish today with a sweet poem by the Brajbasi poet Chandrasekhar, glorifying his spiritual master, wherein he also mentions the Ajman cup. I really like this poem. He writes, "Service to one's guru is the only real service in this world. O brother, start rendering service to your guru. The only remedy for dispersing the illusion of the material energy and for entering the abode of Braj is to take shelter of the guru's lotus feet. Offering bhoga to one's guru is the best yajna for a disciple. The guru's body is the transcendental form of fire, and the sandals of the guru's lotus feet are the goal of a disciple's life. And the guru's liquid remnants, the Ajman Patra for his disciples." And the guru's liquid remnants is the Ajman Patra for his disciples. "I, Chandrasekhar, sacrifice all my desires for the desire of serving my guru lifetime after lifetime." Hare Krishna. So that's all we have to say about Ajman cups. Actually, when I started researching, I was thinking, what am I going to find about an Ajman cup? But with the help of a few friends and many hours of research and prayer, by the mercy of Gaur Shakti, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we found all these transcendental items, and I hope that you relish them, as did I. I'm in China right now and very busy here in China, but I'll be back next Friday with another item which we can help to stimulate our love for the divine couple, Radha and Krishna and Sri Vrindavan Dham. Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radharashama Sundar ki, Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radharani ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagi ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Jai Jai Sri Sri Radhe Shyam.